This is a two-parter, so click on that to go find the whole thing. But I think it brings up a good point, where Edelgard didn't want anyone to suffer what she suffered, but then, by starting a war, made it so a bunch of people got involved, which is something she does talk about in her support conversations with Byleth, where she's like, a bunch of innocent people got caught up in the insurrection of the Seven, and they died for no reason, not even knowing why. And that is exactly what is happening in the conquest of Fodlan. But here's the important thing to keep in mind here. To Edelgard, this was happening anyway. She just didn't have any control over it. I'm not saying it's right. This is just from her mentality, from her perspective. Innocent people are dying, and they don't know why, and it's for a horrible reason that would just make them more appalled at the loss of life. Versus, yes, people are dying in this war, and they don't know why. And that's still not okay. And I'm not gonna say that it's pardonable, but in her mentality, at least the reason for this is good. At least this will be the last time, in her mind, that something like this happens, because that is why she is doing this. To make it so that the lives that are lost in this conquest actually do something for the people who are still left. It's a very fatalistic, despairing view of the world from someone who has a good reason to have that kind of view of the world. As for Rhea and not being with human beings in a sociable standard, I don't think that's entirely correct, because she did give crests to people that she was close to, or rumored to be close to. The evidence of this most particularly is in the fact that Edelgard and the Hresfeld family line has the crest of Saros. This was something she volunteered to, I believe, Emperor Wilhelm? Yes, Wilhelm. He was the first emperor of Adrestia, and this wasn't like a situation where it was with Geralt, where Rhea gave him blood to save his life. This was something she offered to him in the war that he was helping her with. And the only other context we have for this is a text from the Shadow Library in the DLC for the Wolves. Take it with a grain of salt, because it is mentioned in-game that, not everything in there is probably accurate. But there was a play about a possible romance between Rhea and Wilhelm. And whether or not it was true, if they had a romance or not, they were obviously together enough and fond of each other enough in the public eye enough that it is feasible that she's had social interactions with human beings, just only a select few, and she treats them as an exception to the traitorous whole.